make $200,000 a year to be middle class in America, $300,000 in New York or California. This American dream you speak of, it's dead.
We're middle class, and then inflation hit and it bumped us down a few levels.
Middle class cannot afford it anymore.
Two incomes just isn't enough money anymore. Me and my husband are both in our 30s. We make the most money we've ever made before, and we still struggle between every single paycheck.
The middle class is officially gone in America. What's the real impact of this? Is there any way to fix it?
You did everything right. You worked hard, earned more than ever before, maybe even hit six figures. And yet somehow you are still struggling between paychecks. The bills keep rising. Homes feel impossible to own. And the life that once defined the middle class now feels out of reach. This is not about luxury anymore. It is about survival. In this video, we are diving into why the middle class feels like it is disappearing and what that really means for families today. If this feels like your story, make sure you subscribe, because this conversation affects all of us more than we realize.
3 things that middle class sadly cannot afford anymore. A house. The average home prices in the United States is $450,000, with some states going way higher than that. And the salaries have not kept up with the home prices. 2, with cost of living skyrocketing, saving for a vacation has become a luxury that many can't afford. 3, childcare costs, which in some states is higher than college tuition, forcing many moms to leave the workforce to take care of their children. I'm curious, drop a comment. What is middle class in nowadays?
All right. Listen to me. The average American, they don't even realize this, but the middle class, they are currently being priced out of owning a home. I'll give you an example. There's this company called Invitation Homes. They're based here in Dallas, and they are traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, they recently closed on a deal where they bought 264 homes in Las Vegas. In fact, they bought nearly $1 billion worth of real estate in 2023. They bought 2,300 homes last year, with the majority being Texas, Florida, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. In Texas alone last year, 28% of all transactions were from investors like this. So Congress is asking a question and passing a bill. How can one company just buy up so many homes and raise the rents on everyone? Well, this is a good question, because I also read this article. It says that 6 years from now, it's estimated U.S. corporate investors, they're going to own 40% of all real estate in this country. And I feel like they're turning us into a nation of renters. I recently visited a friend of mine in Mexico City, and I realized, you know what? Property ownership, guys, it's not for everyone. The average person in that country does not have the ability to buy a home like we do here in the U.S. In other countries, it is only for the privileged. It is only for the rich. And it feels like we're going that way in this country too. What do y'all think? Should Congress pass a bill to restrict this type of transaction and protect the American dream? Or should we allow for this for the sake of free markets and capitalism?
Middle class cannot afford it anymore. I think that is by design. Okay, I'm not an economist. I don't know how that stuff works, but I think it's by design. I honestly do. But the fact that these things are ridiculously expensive as they are, and so hard to obtain, interest rates are so high, the average person is in trouble. And again, I keep saying the average person. Understand that most families are multiple people. So they're hurting more than once. Okay, it's not just a truck. Now you do get some that'll have one nice family vehicle, truck, whatever it is, and then the other vehicle they have might be something cheaper and used in just another vehicle. That's fine too, whatever it works and however it works. But it is a shame that where just literally 5-6 years ago, you could, every family, you could go out and you could lease 2 brand new vehicles and drive them worry free, and everything was fine, and your payments were $250 a month on each one of them, $500 total for it. Now, one of them being a truck, the other one being a little SUV, and you had $500 total in payments on leases, and then you traded in every 3 years, and you moved on to the next one, and everything was fantastic.
What you are seeing in these stories is not a coincidence, and it is not people being bad with money. It is a structural breakdown of what the middle class used to mean in America. For decades, the middle class was built on a simple promise. If you worked hard, got educated, followed the rules, and earned a steady income, you would be able to afford a home, raise children, handle emergencies, and maybe enjoy life once in a while. That promise is quietly collapsing. Not dramatically, not overnight, but slowly and relentlessly, paycheck by paycheck. Today, people in their 30s and 40s are earning more money than they ever have before, yet they feel poorer than they did years ago. 2 incomes used to mean stability. Now, it often just means survival. Housing costs have exploded far beyond wage growth. A home that cost a little over $300,000 a few years ago is now $400,000 or more, and that is before interest rates doubled. The same house now costs hundreds of dollars more every single month, not because it improved, but because the system changed. That extra money does not buy comfort or security. It just disappears. At the same time, corporate investors have entered the housing market at a scale never seen before. Entire neighborhoods are being bought, not by families, but by firms whose business model depends on permanent renting. When one company can buy hundreds or thousands of homes in a single year, competing against regular buyers who rely on mortgages, the outcome is predictable. Prices rise, supply tightens, and ownership becomes harder. The result is a slow shift from a nation of homeowners to a nation of renters, where wealth generation becomes harder with every generation. But housing is only one pressure point. Childcare has become a second mortgage. In many states, the cost of daycare rivals or exceeds college tuition. This forces families into impossible choices. One parent works just to pay for childcare, or one parent leaves the workforce and sacrifices income, career growth, and future security. On paper, 2 incomes look strong. In reality, once childcare, taxes, healthcare, and commuting are factored in, the math simply does not work. Healthcare adds another layer of instability. People with jobs and insurance still face deductibles so high that insurance feels almost meaningless. Families are paying hundreds or even thousands per month just to stay covered, yet still hesitate to see a doctor because one visit can trigger massive out-of-pocket costs. Dental and vision coverage often cap out so low that major work pushes people straight into debt. This creates a strange reality where earning more money can actually make life harder, because assistance disappears while costs remain overwhelming. Inflation did not create this crisis, but it exposed it. Food prices, utilities, insurance, car payments, and basic services all rose at the same time, squeezing households from every direction. People cut vacations, then cut eating out, then cut new clothes, then cut savings until there is nothing left to cut. What remains is anxiety. The constant awareness that one emergency, one medical issue, one insurance increase, or one job disruption could undo everything. In places like Florida, the situation has become extreme. Insurance costs surged after natural disasters and policy changes, pushing monthly housing payments up by thousands of dollars almost overnight. Property taxes rose. Flood zones were redrawn. Homeowners who thought they were stable suddenly faced bills they could not prepare for or avoid. Even people making 6 figures found themselves questioning how long they could hold on. When the middle class can no longer afford to live in the places that depend on their labor, the entire system starts to crack.
Don't want to admit, the middle class is broke.
I've seen a lot of stitches of this video talking about how the math isn't working anymore, and I want to add something to the conversation. So some people are asking, like, how can anyone have children in this environment? And I do have children, and I want to talk about how then you're hit from both ends because of preschool. The logical conclusion from this video would be that we need 2 incomes, and it's very difficult for 2 people to work a traditional job and have kids attend preschool at the same time because they don't really attend very much. So I'm going to give an example, and this is like underestimated because the truth is my kids are sick a lot, but let's just say your kid is sick 2 days a month in winter. When a child is sick, they can't return to school the next day either, so those 2 days become 4. Now let's say you have 2 children. Now that's 8 days out of the month that they are missing school. You can't go into work for those 8 days. Now let's say all of this is driving you crazy and your immune system is suppressed and you now are sick 2 days a month. Reasonable. That is now 10 days. Now let's also say once a month there's a holiday where the school is closed but work is still on, 11 days. Now let's say there's one day a month where the teachers have, conferences, parent-teacher conferences or in-house training, 12 days. Now you might say some of these days fall on a weekend, and sure, that happens, but there's also months where there are more days off than this for holidays or whatever. I don't know any job where you can call off for 12 days out of the month that you're not coming in because of XYZ reasons. This blew my mind when we had kids, and I was asking everyone, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? And most of the time the answer was grandparents, or they just had a really lucky job where they were working from home. This was pre-pandemic, and just taking turns and figuring it out somehow with a babysitter, grandparents themselves. But it was a juggling act, and I don't have all those resources. And then a friend taught me this expression, the more you pay, the less you go. So my children were in a foreign language immersion preschool. It's something I had as a goal since I was a child. And yes, they didn't attend as much as I thought they would attend. Anyway, my point is, it is very difficult for two people to work a traditional job and have children, because what are you doing with the children with all these days off?
The very ugly truth is that if you are low or middle class, there are some jobs that your children cannot afford to go into. Because if they do, they will be so financially strapped that they will not be able to help themselves. It does not matter if their passion is to do whatever that is. They will not be able to afford to put a roof over their head, pay for groceries, and also exist. And pretending otherwise is a massive disservice to them. Not just a massive disservice, but cruel. It's cruel. Because they are going to have a collision with reality, and it is going to be very ugly and very hard, and they're going to undergo a lot of financial stress. All because you didn't have a conversation with them where you said, hey, how much money do you need to actually exist and pay your bills? And it's not capitalist or whatever. This is every single person on planet Earth, in every single country, everywhere, needs to have food to put in their mouth, clothes to put on their backs, and a roof over their head. Doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter. You have to do it. Where you live dictates how you have to get those things. If your child lives in the US, they have to earn enough to be able to pay for those things. That is just the reality of it. And hinging their financial stability on government loans, government bailouts, or systemic overhaul of entire systems is not a realistic way to help them succeed into the future. It is cruel and it is unkind. So ask your high schoolers how much money they need in order to exist. Help them figure out what careers will first put them on a financially stable footing so that then they can worry about helping others. But they need to put their oxygen masks on first. Because clocking in every day to help people when you cannot help yourself is a truly terrible position to be in. Please don't do that to your children.
What makes this moment especially painful is the comparison to the past. Many people grew up believing their parents were comfortable, only to later realize that comfort was often built on debt, family assistance, or economic conditions that no longer exist. Previous generations benefited from cheaper education, lower housing costs, stronger wage growth, and informal safety nets from extended family. Today's generation carries student debt, faces higher barriers to entry, and receives far less margin for error. The emotional toll is just as heavy as the financial one. Vacations have turned into logistical exercises in cost avoidance. Leisure feels risky. Rest feels undeserved. People are working harder, longer, and more efficiently than ever, yet feel stuck in place. The idea of building generational wealth feels distant when the focus is simply making it to the next paycheck. This is why so many people feel like the middle class has disappeared. Not because people stopped working, but because the definition of a stable life has moved beyond what most jobs can provide. When basic needs consume nearly all income, there is no room to grow, no buffer to fall back on, and no sense of progress. The American dream did not vanish in one dramatic moment. It was slowly priced out of reach, one bill at a time, until millions of people woke up and realized they were no longer standing where they thought they were.
People are always saying that the average American makes $45,000 a year, Where does the average American work? I want to make $45,000 a year. Are you kidding me? The most I have ever made is $30,000 in a year. Where are these people working that they're making $45,000? Like, don't just tell me that they're making $45,000 a year. Where do they work? Is their job hiring? I need more details. Like, where are they getting these numbers from? I don't think I know anybody in my life who is making $45,000 a year. Like, that is insane. I think that's like the average, only because like there's literal billionaires who are making like so much in a year that like regular people, they're like, oh, the average is 45,000. The average person, I would say, probably makes like 30,000, like 35,000. Like, you're not making $45,000 an hour on like a $15 an hour fast food salary. Like, where are the people who are making $45,000 a year? Where are they working? Are they hiring? Tell me that, America!
2 incomes just isn't enough money anymore. Me and my husband are both in our 30s. We make the most money we've ever made before, and we still struggled between every single paycheck. We spent hours every single Friday when we would get paid trying to figure out what we could cut back, trying to budget every penny we had so that we would make it to the next paycheck. The grocery store's too expensive. Vehicles are too expensive. Vacations are too expensive. Houses are too expensive. 2 incomes is just not enough anymore in today's world. I have a college degree in physical therapy, and when I got good grades and went to college and did all the right things, it was supposed to solve all those financial problems. That's what everybody told me. It was going to solve all my problems. Well, it didn't, and they lied. And I was sick of struggling between every single paycheck when I was working my ass off, treating more patients than I should be treating. I was overworked, underpaid, and I was sick of it.
Okay, I'm going to say this one time only, so pay attention really, really closely. We need to help the most vulnerable. We do, okay? They need to be helped. We cannot leave them hanging. That is not okay. But while we are there and we are helping, we need to revamp our system. Because when there are many that are milking the system, it hurts those who really need it, and it hurts those of us who are working to take care of ourselves. Okay? I have a good job. I make good money. Not great money, good money. I have health insurance. I have dental insurance. You know, my dental insurance covers $1,000. $1,000. That is it. So, like, when I did better off with health care and dental care when I was a single mom and I had a job that didn't make me much, and now I'm married and I have a job that makes me better money and I struggle more, there is a problem. Our middle class is hurting. They are hurting very badly to take care of themselves. We have to fix this.
When you step back and really look at everything happening, it becomes clear that this is not about bad choices or people failing to work hard enough. It feels like we are living in a moment where the rules changed without warning, and the middle class was never told. People are running faster on the same treadmill, earning more on paper, yet falling further behind in real life. The dream that once felt automatic now feels fragile, conditional, and constantly at risk. And the most unsettling part is realizing how many families are quietly carrying this weight, thinking it is only happening to them. If this perspective resonated with you and felt uncomfortably familiar, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because these conversations matter, and understanding what is really happening may be the first step toward not feeling alone in it anymore.